What's going on, guys? I've got bad news. The Supra has become a paperweight. I can't drive it. Ever since the LZ World Tour, I got the car home, oil leak underneath, and I started stressing because obviously I'd just taken it for a big drive. So today's video, we're gonna get in. I actually know what the issue is, and I can save you guys probably like $1,000 on this fix. And it's not dodgy. I'm not doing anything sus. Let's jump in and I'll explain what's going on. All right, apologies for the terrible lighting, but it is what it is. Got home from the LZ World Tour, parked the car up. The next day came out, I was gonna go for a little bit of a spin, and I noticed there was a leak essentially directly under here. Had a look, started looking into everything, checked oil levels, all that oil level was fine, everything was all good, but there was a massive leak on one of the hoses. Well, one of the hoses was wet, and I found that it was the high pressure line, which is that one there. You see that one with the fitting on it? You see that fitting right there? Well, you can see the bolt just underneath it. It's that line there. So that's the high pressure line, right? It shoots out the back and then it goes down and so on. It is leaking out of that. Now, that line is probably as old as the car, to be fair, because I've had the car, what, 16, 17 years, something like that, and I've never changed it. And even on the motor swap, it's the same line. So going by maths, if that line would last 16 years, the guy before me only owned the car like, what, 10 years or something? I don't know, bad math. So if a line like that lasts 16 years, he wouldn't have changed it. Therefore, it probably lasts 26 years. And well, we are where we are. Is that how old the car is? I don't know, 93, whatever. But it's an old line. It's a high pressure line, so it's obviously under high pressure all the time, so it's bound to go. Now, obviously, jumped on Amiyama, jumped on the Toyo Epic data website, blah, blah, blah. Got the part number, right? Amiyama, 500 bucks, like 450 bucks. And I was like, what? And I have noticed sometimes if you call Toyota and give them the part number, sometimes you can save a bit of money, which is really strange, but it's because you can do like an alternate part number. So like, for example, starter motor or alternator on a 2J, alternator on a 1J, alternator on a 3UZ, things like that. You can either grind a little bit off the alternator and make it fit a lot cheaper. As soon as you say 2J, they go, oh, bend over. Anyway, called Toyota, gave him the part number, and the guy literally went like this. Ooh. I was like, that doesn't sound good. And he was like, yeah, man, it's not good. It's like 1,500 bucks. I think it was 1,540 something for a high pressure line. What? Nah, I'm not paying that. Even 450 is expensive. But I was like, well, if that's my only option, that's my only option. 6 to 8 week wait. Now, to be fair, had I actually just ordered it then and there, I would have it right now because this thing has been sitting around since the LZ World Tour, which was months ago. I've just been busy on the E46, busy with dad life and other stuff, so I've just left it on the wayside. Not good enough. I need to drive this car again. Now, I was talking to one of my mates and I was just like, you know, obviously bitching about it, being like, man, it's so expensive. And he was like, dude, hit up a high pressure hit up a hydraulic company that does hydraulic hoses. They should be able to fix it. So this hose is a hard line from the rack under the motor, and then it bends up a little bit, and then it's a rubber hose that's crimped at each end, obviously, to that fitting that bolts on, the banjo fitting, and then to the actual stainless line. Now, it's the rubber part that, I think it's actually the top of the rubber part, which is leaking at that crimp. So that's fine. Apparently they can cut that off, they can re-crimp it, give you a new piece of rubber there, and all good. The thing with that is, I called the hydraulic hose places, and yes, you can fix that because it's that rubber piece is replaceable. They can take the crimps off, re-crimp a new one on, all fresh, all nice. 250 bucks. Now, had you called the place first and asked them, you would have been like, 250 bucks, get out of here. But when you find out the actual hose brand new is like 1,500, 250 bucks is a lot cheaper. $1,250, are you serious? You can almost put a set of coilovers on your car with the money that you saved on this. Now, it is not just this car. A lot of cars have very, very expensive, high pressure power steering lines. And I don't know why. Even the E46, I was looking for one on that, hundreds of dollars, ridiculous. The E46, I actually decided to just do braided AN fittings or braided AN line onto AN fittings. So, you know, I fixed that myself. That's all good. But this one, I was just like, I'll keep it how it is and I'll just go and get that piece fixed. So in today's video, we're removing that. Now, the annoying thing is obviously the system is full of fluid, so I'm going to have to take that off. It's gonna start pissing fluid everywhere, and I'm actually gonna leave it in my drip tray down here. I'll have that under there, and I've actually got other jobs I've got to do today. So while I'm doing those, I'll let this drain out and then take it off at the pump side as well, take it in, get it fixed, and then you guys will see it actually fixed. I'm gonna rip on this thing because it's been a long time. So I'm gonna jump in quickly and take this out. Essentially, again, sorry about the lighting, we have one bolt there and one bolt, which I showed you earlier. That's it, it's just those two. Slide that out, slide that banjo bolt out, slide this banjo bolt out, and the whole hose will, or the line will come out. So I'll show you that in a moment. All right, well, that was a pain in the ass. That was a real pain in the ass. I had to rattle gun that one off. And this one here actually goes into like it's a male to a female. So this goes into the female, obviously, because there is only male and female. So this goes into that. And then, yeah, as you undo this one, the other one undid. So I had to get, thankfully, Toyota was really smart, and that one was a 24, that one was a 22. So if you have one set of sockets or you know, one set of spanners, you can actually do it. It's not like 22 and 22. So you're like, cool, I'm gonna go buy another whole set of spanners. It was okay. I did have to pull my battery out, but whatever. This is the culprit right here. So normally there's a big chunk of foam that's kind of surrounds this, which did make diagnosis a little bit harder because the bottom of the foam was like leaking. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And the top of the foam kind of like looked like it was seeping. So I thought there was a hole here, but then as I ran my fingers up here, it was really like lubricated right there. So it looks like this crimp has failed us. Yeah, so I'm gonna take this bad boy in. I will tape it up so I don't drip all of this gunk everywhere. Oh man, I'm so glad that actually is out now. So I can get that fixed, put it back in, and go from there. I'm gonna see if I can get them to actually pressure test it to make sure this was failed, because I'm 99% sure, but just in case it was something else. I mean, worst case scenario, if it isn't failing, which I think it's failing even down here a little bit actually. If it isn't, well, cool, I saved myself 250 bucks plus, you know, their labor, or whatever. Let's go down, get this fixed, and chuck it back in. All right, now, interesting things unfolded. Went to the shop to get the power steering hose fixed. And they quoted me $250, which I was like, that's a lot, but okay. Because a new one is $450, and then a new one from, well, it's like, yeah, about $450 plus shipping from Japan. But then from Toyota, it's like 1,500 bucks. So go in there, and he's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like 350, 400, 450. And I'm like, wow, stop climbing. Stop doing that. And I was like, oh, okay. On the phone, you said it would be 250. Oh yeah, it's a two-part, so yeah, it's gonna be 450. And I was like, What I really didn't like about this scenario is I was standing there, I was like, oh, okay. And he just cold-faced me and just stood there, just like, come on, idiot, hurry up. You're gonna pay it because you haven't got these crimps. So just shut up and pay the money, peasant. That's exactly the attitude this person had. So I was like, nah, don't worry about it. And he looked at me, he was like, oh, nah? And I was like, nah. He goes, oh, go to this other place, see what they quote you. And I was like, nah, I'll make my own lines out of AN fittings and braided line. And he was like, do you have the crimps? And I'm like, well, AN fittings come with the crimps on the end. Oh, okay. Anyway, through this experience, I've realized that I did run the wrong AN line on the E46. I didn't run the one with the plastic, like the nylon hose in the middle. So removed that, upgraded that already, done that in a previous video, which you guys would have seen, or a video that's coming, I don't know, but you'll see it. Anyway, did that, ordered the other fittings. So it was $120, $119 for the line and the kit. And this is rated for 1,000 PSI working pressure and 5,000 bursting. And I've heard that on full lock, like if you're smashing full lock, you might get up to like 1,200, but there was no higher. And I spoke to a guy, I'll continue the story in, hold on. So $119 for all the fittings, plus the 2 banjo fittings was like another 20 bucks, and some O-rings was like 8 bucks. So all up, I think I paid I think it was around 140 bucks. And that covered the line on the Supra and redoing the line on the BMW. So for $450, this guy wanted to just recrimp 2 little bits. I was like, what? So for literally a quarter of that almost, I managed to do 2 lines on 2 different JZs. So that guy can eat a dick. I hate their attitude. I actually don't like the company. I'm not gonna shout them out and blast them, but I took the Supra there to get my power steering rack fixed years ago, and it took them 4 attempts to actually get it done right, which really annoyed me. And I only went back there because they were close. The other shop was like an hour away. So I was like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I walked in and he treated me like that, and I was like, nah, you can eat one. So anyway, all the parts in, they came in all good, sweet. Started making the ends off and all that kind of stuff. Then I realized that the banjo fittings that came in were taller, same height as the rack side, but taller than the pump side. So the pump side banjo bolt was a little bit too short. Thankfully, did a bit of calling around. VPW in Epping, absolute legends. They sold me a banjo bolt that they had in stock, and it was like $9. I think it was meant to be 14. He gave me trade price because he's a legend. And these guys actually understood. They actually listened. It wasn't just like, oh, what do you want? Oh yeah, think I might have one. Just come in, kind of thing. They were like, okay, hold on, let me go get it. I want to make sure it's the right one. What's the thread pitch? What's this? What's that? You know, really kind of talked through it all with me and knew what they were talking about, and it was great. Apparently they normally work with kind of V8s and stuff like that, but they said they were delving into the world of Japanese cars, Euro cars, turbo cars, etc. Obviously AN lines work on all cars, so they had those parts. But really, really helpful guys, had the stuff in stock, went and got it today, and I've made it up. So let me take you into the garage and show you what I've done. I actually have already installed it, I apologize, but I just got tunnel vision and I got in there and got it done, but I can show you what I've done. Let's go and have a look. All right, now for anyone wanting to upgrade theirs, take your battery out if you want to access it, because it's really hard if you don't. Now you can see just there, so banjo fitting, banjo bolt. I call that the banjo eye fitting. I don't know if I'm talking rubbish, but then I call that bolt the banjo bolt. Then to a 90, which shoots down the side there, goes underneath. There is a clip underneath, which I'll show you in a second, but I'm gonna actually also put a P-clamp, because the same as the trans cooler lines on the E46, there's a thread into the sump, and I'll put a P-clamp there just to make sure this line doesn't kind of flick forward and hit any of these belts, etc. And then, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can, just there, got a fitting there. Look at my shaky fingers, I need to eat something. Yeah, so all crimped up, all clamped up, new crush washers, all that kind of fun stuff. This is all back in. Now I just need to fill it up, get it off the ramps, and hope to God that it doesn't leak, because it is a bit of a pain in the ass to pull it all apart, but it shouldn't leak technically. But let's test it out. All right, now the major test. Everything is back together. I've put a bunch of, obviously, power steering fluid, auto trans fluid in there. And my house is getting scoped out, weird. Anyway, one other job I did, I just put this back on. So I had this off. An issue that I've had with this car from day dot is just cooling a little bit. And I don't mean an issue as in oh man, it's overheating all the time. I mean on a 40-degree day, if I'm driving down the freeway and I've got the aircon on, it starts to creep the temperature up. And my temperature sensor, my water temperature sensor, obviously sits here. And when that starts to creep up, I've never had the actual temperature gauge go up. It's always been this one, and I think this one's just an extra bit sensitive, but either way, it shouldn't be going and reading up that high. My thoughts are from learning from the E46. The E46 has the intercooler, then the condenser, then the radiator, and they're all this far apart with little bits of foam all around the edges, just to make everything, the air that's going in is going all the way through all of them, right? And it's not going out the sides. This, I've got 3-inch intercooler here, then 110 mil of gap, and a gap that goes straight under the car. Obviously this helped a bit when I installed this, but the gap goes out the side, out that side, underneath. Obviously air is going to take the path of least resistance, which is going to be those. It's not going to want to go straight through the radiator and the condenser and so on. So what I've done, I got high density foam down the sides, jammed it down the side on the end tank, jammed up against obviously the condenser, same on this side, and I've put a panel underneath that I've bolted to the bottom of the car. There was some bolt holes already there, which was great. Bolted that in, and that's got foam on this end and on the underside of the intercooler, and then each side of there. So now any air that goes in the front is forced to go through here and here. The other thing that I have done is there is normally a bypass valve right here, that, which what it does is when you're at idle, if you turn your wheels at idle, obviously that pump's going to take more load, which it kind of needs you to rev up a little bit. But if you don't rev up a little bit, this valve essentially revs up for you, right? It takes air from in front of the throttle body and pumps it into here just a little, or allows it to go into there just a little bit to increase your idle, right? I've been told by a very, very important shop, WTF Auto, he deletes them all the time, and he said he's barely ever seen anything noticeable. So you can delete it. I've deleted it off the E46, I've deleted it off this. So my idle may sit ever so slightly higher, but I doubt it. If it is, it's like, should be insignificant. But everything's back together now. We're gonna start the car, we're gonna roll off the ramps and start turning the wheels, full lock. I know shouldn't be doing that because you get bald spots, blah, 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 but it shouldn't be too bad. I don't like jacking the front of the car up from the subframe. I don't know why, I'm just weird about it. I just don't like it. I always jack the back of the car up from the diff, but I don't like doing the front, so I don't want to be on the piss and then start turning wheels and all that kind of stuff. So I'll take it down, turn it a few times, we should be fine. It's nice, flat, smooth concrete. It's not going to chew my tires up too bad. It won't even be noticeable. So let's start the car, roll it off of this, and start putting more fluid in there, because that's going to suck all the fluid down.
Now it's at this point that I start getting nervous, because as much as I'm confident in what I can do, I've never created AN lines before and tested them. I have a lot on the BMW, but none have been tested. This will be the first time, so I really hope this works.
Hell yeah, brother. Great success. I'm really happy, actually. I'm stoked. I'm more than stoked. I'm pumped. Power steering pumped. Oh, they're all coming out today. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm actually in a really good mood because that has worked so far. Now, I don't actually know when a power steering pump is under the most pressure it will be under. I'm assuming it would be low speed, full lock kind of thing, because, I mean, it's gotta be, because when you're like moving, you know, like high speed, general speed, whatever the case may be, I mean, it's easier to turn the wheel. So surely it's when you're sitting on the floor, turning it. So I'm assuming that's when that's the highest pressure. At, like, in turn, that's when the pipe should have burst off. I don't know why I'm expecting them to burst off. I guess because whenever you do something and you're like trying to get a win over the world, like this power steering joint that tried to rip me off, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna win. And you really, really want to win at that point. It's not just, oh, yeah, I can save myself 10 bucks. It's, if this doesn't work, I've got to redo the whole thing, or I've got to admit defeat and go and buy a new power steering hose, which I don't want to do. But that is my life with cars, because I'm always trying to save some money and learn things and do things myself. I've never done AN lines before until probably like maybe a month ago, when I was doing them on the BMW, and then doing these power steering lines, these in the E46, I learned about the ones with the nylon inside and the ferrules and everything like that. Now, a little bit of info about me, not to waffle on too much. So my trade is a Sparky, and I also did the instrumentation trade, which ironically is high pressure airlines and things like that. You would know that if you have followed the Supra build and you saw me do the air cups, because I did instrumentation lines in the back. So I'm like not, you know, I'm not familiar, or I am familiar with high pressure fittings and so on and so forth, and how to fit them off, all that kind of stuff. So theoretically, this should be all good. But you know, you always got that thought in the back of your mind, like, is it, man? Is it good? Or did you royally screw it up? But no, it looks good. Idle hasn't changed from deleting that valve, which is good. I'm really happy with that because that was a nice test for the BMW. You know, because obviously I've done it on there, done on here. I would go and see, I mean, I was checking the reservoir. It had quite a bit in there. I'm not going to check it now because it's really hot. So yeah, I'll check it again in the morning. But yeah, looks like great success. So I'm very, very happy. And I hope you guys, if you have a power steering leak on your Supra, on your whatever, and you get told, oh yeah, it's $1 million for a high pressure power steering line, F that in the A, because you can do this. It's really easy, like really, really easy. Like if you Google like YouTube how to fit one of these off, I might do a short on it or something. Like it's so easy. Like it literally is minutes. You gotta have a grinder or a cutter or whatever, but yeah, it's not bad. And you can do it. I know you can do it. I'm proud of you because you will try, okay? I'm proud of you because I know you're gonna try it, yeah? Okay, sweet. You're gonna save yourself a lot of money, then you can spend that money on some wheels or something like that, something fun that isn't just fixing a power steering link. Now, the other reason I'm really stoked about this is because I haven't driven this car since the LZ World Tour, which was like, was it last year? Oh my God, I think it was last year. But yeah, it's been ages because obviously it's had the little leak. I'm not gonna drive with a little leak, but she fired up straight away. Love this car. I genuinely do. Okay, I'm not gonna waffle on anymore. Thank you for coming along. Like I said, either in the beginning of the video or a previous video, I'm sorry that I don't have time to message everybody back, but if you do need to get hold of me, my Patreon's there. I've purposely set the tiers so that you can just jump in $4 and you can ask me all the questions in the world. You have priority. It notifies me on my phone. I haven't like turned off those notifications like I have on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that because those notifications just like keep coming through. Patreon will notify me and you will get me, and I will spend the time to dive into your issue and try and help you fix it as much as I can, you know, as much as is practically possible for me, okay? So any of you out there that are my Patreons, thank you. I love you. I really appreciate it. It actually spins me out that I've even got Patreons, that you guys want to help me and, you know, like help me with the channel and all that kind of stuff. It really spins me out. So just so much appreciation for you guys and even everybody, all my subscribers, all the likes, all the comments, all the everything. It keeps me going because this is a slow road to grow this channel, really slow road. But I love doing this stuff. Just side note, someone told me once, oh, why don't you change your content for stuff that's gonna get more views? Like, I don't know, whatever's like high view, clickbaity content. And I was like, my theory around that was, look, I could, but my aim to build this channel wasn't just to like stop working or something. Like I'll probably always keep working, I guess, unless it like really blows up. But it was to help all of you because I saw so many people working on, like, not working on the cars, but getting ripped off by like shops that it was an easy job. And I'm talking like an easy job that they didn't want to do. So they just overpriced it and you were like, well, I need someone to do it. So you paid for it. And it's not really fair. Like you can do a lot of stuff yourself. Save yourself a lot of money. That's why I started the channel. That, to build a community, help everyone out and just share my stuff. And also so that when I'm an old boy, like really old, like all my hair's gray or falling out, I get to look back on the cars that I built, like the build process. I regret not doing it when I was building the Supra's engine. I should have back then. I would have started when Adam LZ started. I probably would have just blown up because apparently back then YouTube was a lot easier to blow up, but whatever. Also like my holidays and stuff, I know that content doesn't go viral, doesn't get a lot of likes and views and stuff, but I do it because I like to bring you guys along and stuff. And also, again, I want to revisit that stuff when I'm old and decrepit and laying in a bed, shitting my pants, you know? So yeah, it's to help you guys, to help old Adam not go senile. And like, I'm just having fun with it. If I change my content to just get likes, let's say I did that, right? And in 4 years, it didn't work. And I was still getting like low views, low likes, like under 5,000 subs, all that kind of stuff. I'd be like, cool, I just wasted that many years of my life doing stuff I didn't want to do. Whereas if this channel doesn't blow up, right? It probably won't, maybe it will, I don't know, whatever. If it doesn't, at the end of the day, I mean, I've been doing this 3 years and what have I done? I got to build the Supra more, paint the Supra, build the crown, well, modify the crown, build the entire BMW. End of the day, I still have the things that I love, and I'm glad I did them because I would have done them anyway off camera. It's just, I brought you guys along to entertain you and hopefully help you here, there, and everywhere for little things. Anyway, enough of me waffling. Thanks for coming along. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Please just share around, be a legend. And I'll see you all in the next one. See you guys.